So today we're going to talk more about international fundraising. And so far we have talked about some key things. First, if you are an international business owner, and let's say for instance you own and operate an oil and gas field in Colombia or Chile or Peru, or you are a farmer and you export hundreds of millions of dollars of meat or chicken or vegetables to various countries around the world, including China, and you want to raise capital either to increase the amount of oil and gas production, or you want to, if you're a farmer, you might want to upgrade your facilities so that you can classify as sustainable, so that you can increase your market share, reduce your cost of capital. You may want to raise capital from, in particular, investors in the United States. And the reason why we focus on the United States, a lot of people go to the United States. It's very dynamic to raise capital. There's a lot of capital there. There's a lot of savvy investors in the United States who are used to doing deals all around the world. And so what we want to do is go through some of the key things that you can think of, and you can then go off and do your own research. It's about making you guys aware. For you, the tax lawyers, we want to say these things so that you can help your clients by just making them aware of these things, and then together you guys can go off and do your own research and find out about all these things and find out what works best for you. So the US has a very large dynamic private equity industry, which we all see on television, on the internet, and various things. And in that, you see a lot of US private equity companies dealing with a lot of US investors. And the first thing you have to realize, if you're not a US person, if you're not a US business, a lot of the ways that they raise money and do things, it doesn't apply to you or us if we're not international. It doesn't apply in the sense that a different approach is required. That's the first thing. If you're international and non-US, you're going to be treated differently by institutions. Their compliance departments are going to treat you differently, and then ultimately the way the world, the way the deal works, the tax efficiency of it, all these things are going to change because you are international. So the steps we suggest that you take: one, write your own offer memorandum. Research and write your own offer memorandum. Saves time and cost, legal fees. It greatly increases communication, reduces time and effort upfront if you do it yourself first. Two, consult a U.S. securities lawyer to review the offer memorandum that you have written, and get some advice on your plans to raise capital from U.S. investors, what you can and can't do. We've explained that you can't just call out your friends or your family in the U.S. and have them email around investment proposals or making suggestions of investment, because ultimately if you get sued by an investor in the U.S., the law will not be on your side if this is the way that you've done it, and you're not supposed to do it that way anyway. Thirdly, you need to realize that if you then, when you have an offering of securities to raise capital from the U.S., you are going to have to engage the services of a broker-dealer in the U.S., and your U.S. securities advisor will help you with that. The next thing that we talked about was raising capital from U.S. investors using RegCF, which is a crowdfunding platform. Up to $5 million you can use raising a crowdfunding platform if you set up a business in the U.S. Then there's Reg A+, which is another type of crowdfunding platform. You have to have had a business with audited financial statements for 2 years in the United States, and then you can raise up to $75 million using this process. And then what we're going to talk about next is, if you're an international business owner in Latin America or Latin America, you could actually set up a Canadian company. Canadian companies can actually list their securities on crowdfunding platforms. So you can actually use a RegCF $5 million limit crowdfunding platform using a Canadian company. If you have a Canadian company, right, which is a part of the business in Latin America, you can basically utilize that for doing also Reg A+. Again, you would have to have 2 years audited financial statements, tax returns, the works, and then you'd be able to raise up to $75 million using Reg A+. Okay, so a Canadian company can really give you access to US crowdfunding platforms. Now, Canada, vis-a-vis Latin American nations, Canada has a lot of very attractive, there are a lot of very attractive reasons why you might want to use a Canadian company. A lot of people from Latin America use Florida or Miami or US companies and corporations, and they come to the US because yes, the US is a dynamic place to raise capital, but Canada has a lot of benefits, especially for family-owned and owner-operated businesses in Latin America, and you could really benefit in the long run and the short term by using and considering a Canadian company. And we'll get into that in the next video.